word obsession encompasses the mindset of everyone at Mossy Oak. We obsess over hiding from, chasing, and conserving the critters we pursue. In this episode, we listen to Mossy Oak's Cuz Strickland as he recounts his obsession with the wild turkey. This is The Obsessed.
Well, my dad was a lifer. My dad was 20 years in the military. Worked hard, we moved around a good bit, but what his passion was fishing. And I tell people all the time, he was the best fisherman I ever knew that didn't have a boat. But that being outside, it just flew all over me. I was just crazy about all of it. I got into archery when I was real young. We used to have archery tournaments over at Duncan Park in Natchez, Mississippi, and the recurve bow that they gave me to shoot was taller than I was, but you know, I loved that. And I, to this day, love the bow hunting. But turkeys, I don't know why turkeys flung all over me. I'd never been turkey hunting. My dad never been turkey hunting, never talked about turkey hunting. I didn't really know anybody that turkey hunted. The first person I heard about turkey hunting was our football coach at Natchez High, Ed Reed. So I started reading, and I can remember, clear as yesterday, I read this article about Ben Rogers-Lee, who was clearly the first superstar in the hunting world, was to me. But he talked about going to Texas turkey hunting, and he went to cross this barbed wire fence, and when he pushed the barbed wire down, it squeaked in a staple, and a turkey gobbled. And he supposedly called that turkey up sitting there squeaking that wire back and forth. And the more I read about that kind of stuff, I just got fascinated with it. So I bought a Lynch Jet Slate, I think it was called. It was a little square call, wasn't a pot call, and it had a square peg, and you could scratch on it. And I joined my first hunting club, which was north of Natchez there, $60 a year. And I had to save, I couldn't tell you how long I saved that to get $60. Anyway, they had turkeys. And I'd hunted them a little bit in the national forest out there. That was frustrating. There wasn't a whole lot out there. And so I found some turkeys on this hunting club, and I can remember the first time I went, I had a turkey across a creek, and I would squeak on that Jet Slate, he'd gobble his brains out. And I called so much that my hand finally cramped like that. Had I known, all I'd have had to done was shut up and move down and cross that creek 100 yards down there, I could have killed him like that. But those kind of lessons, when you learn them yourself, they mean more to you. And I'm telling you, back then, there weren't hardly any people that turkey hunted, and the ones that did weren't willing to talk about it. You hear those kind of comments now, and you laugh about it, and about people, you know, wiping turkey prints out, turkey tracks out in the mud. Well, that's exactly how it was. There was no information. There was no internet. There wasn't Facebook and all that. You couldn't get any information, so I like that. I like to try to figure it out myself. And pretty soon, I caught myself when I was bow hunting, as much as I loved it, looking for turkey sign, thinking about turkeys. It just kind of morphed into what it is. You know, I loved it so much, I ended up working in a sporting goods store. That's how I met Will Primos. We were, at the time, Will Primos was making mouth calls. The first thing you know, I'm filming turkey hunts for Primos game calls.
Hello, I'm Will with Primos. That small piece of footage you just saw is just a sampling of what you're going to see on this video. Ronnie, let's tell everybody about how hard it was to get some of this footage.
Well, you covered it first. You said it took a lot of luck. That's what it was. But we used a broadcast quality camera.
Nobody had any idea it would be that impactful. I certainly didn't. And I never did kind of stop and think, hey, I'm making a living, you know, filming turkey hunts. It was just kind of what we were doing. It was before the outdoor industry was an outdoor industry, but it was just kind of divine intervention, I think. You know, moving down the road, the first SHOT Show that Toxie Hayes and Bill Sugg went to from Mossy Oak was in New Orleans. And I was going anyway. I had been going to SHOT Shows, and there they were, Bill and Toxie. had a booth up in the dark corner of this dungeon, and they had bottomland wrapped around this giant column, which was in their booth. And I'm telling you, I stopped 50 feet looking at that bottomland pattern. I went, holy cow, I'm gonna kill every turkey in the Homer to the National Forest with that stuff. So we went down there, and man, I said something about turkey hunting, and it was on. Because, you know, Toxie and Bill have been turkey hunting as long as I have. And what a blessing that was. I didn't know it, couldn't see it coming at the time. I always say Toxie Hayes and Will Primos were two of the most visionary people I've ever been around. And I'm convinced they were seeing a lot of this way back in the day. I wasn't. I was day to day trying to make a living, trying to do the best I could. Looking back, it's like, I got to meet so many people. People ask me all the time, I'm going to speak tomorrow night at a big event, and I'm going to talk about my favorite turkey hunt, and I got lots. I mean, it's hard. You kind of keep your family out of that equation. Your grandkids. All my grandkids killed their first turkey when they were 5 years old. Now, how do you put that in words? You can't. You know, my wife, who wasn't a hunter, watching her kill her first turkey, how do you put that into words where you can't? So when people ask me, what's your favorite turkey hunting, I always tell them about Ryan Welch. Mossy Oak got involved with this organization called Catch a Dream. They're an organization that'll take kids on consumptive sports if that's their wish. These are seriously ill, very ill kids, and if they want to go hunting or fishing, Catch a Dream is there for them. But anyway, they got it all kicked off, and they got a letter from this guy named Roger Welch, and his son Ryan, who I think at the time was 8, had just had a malignant brain tumor surgery. And he was stuck inside a lot, and he wanted to go hunting, turkey hunting with either me or Will Primos. Again, goes back to that Truth One. I'm assuming they had bought the video and he was laid up. Anyway, that was his wish. And they told me about that, and first off, I was shocked, because you think these little very ill kids want to go to Disneyland, or this kid wanted to go turkey hunting. So I called Toxie, he said, make it happen. That's the way Toxie rolls. He didn't ask me, make a budget, make a plan. He said, make it happen. And I said, I'm taking them to Texas. Remember, you gotta take your time and put that green bead right at the bottom of his neck. Let him come on, don't worry. I'll let him get a little closer. All right, don't touch the trigger, but get your finger up there. Don't touch the trigger. Can you see the side okay? All right, shoot the one on the left.
Yes! Oh my God! That is
Can you believe it?
No.
Ryan just smacked me. And I can tell you, I've never felt like that in my life. And it was just a 3-day hunt, but the fact that I was able to take him back to his dad and his little brother with a dead turkey like that, it meant the world. I've never felt like that on killing a turkey or having one killed or whatever. Oh, man. You know, turkey hunting is one of those things, if you're in a room and nobody turkey hunts, or not many people, and you try to explain that activity to somebody, they laugh. They think it's funny. So I've always kind of been on a mission to explain to people what turkey hunting is really about. And it's the most epic thing. I tell people all the time, to me it's like better than going to Africa or anything else. There's so much to it. And I tell people all the time, you hear every conservation group, everybody that's concerned, we got to bring more people into this sport. It's not a sport, it's an activity. As Gene Winslow said, it's not a sport, it's an instinct. We all have that hunting instinct. Turkey hunting is the perfect time to take somebody and introduce them to hunting and what goes along with hunting. Confidence, responsibility, stick-to-itness. There's a whole lot to turkey hunting. And the coolest thing about it is you can take, like I've enjoyed so much with my grandkids. I had girls, and I didn't necessarily want them to be great hunters, but I took them hunting a lot. And the reason I wanted them to go hunting is because I wanted them to know where food comes from. You know, it doesn't come from Kroger or Winn-Dixie. If you get protein, something died. And I want them to understand that. I also wanted them to be able to understand the lingo at the supper table. And of course, they've grown up hunting, and now they have husbands and families, and everybody hunts and they get it. So that mission was accomplished. But you can take a little kid hunting like that, and they can be so comfortable with you, and they just get it. It's the coolest hunt on the planet, and it's interacting back and forth with something that's way more wary than you are, and it's just the best time in the world to teach somebody. You know, I can remember my wife telling me, and this is before Mossy Oak and everything else, she would, because you know, back in the day it was a struggle, but we were both working, and I got in some tight spots at work from being late, you know, turkey hunting and being late. And she told me one time, she said, "You're just obsessed, you're over obsessed." And it's true. And I'll tell people all the time, yeah, I'm obsessed with turkey hunting, but more than that, I think the obsession just jumped all over me. It's just, at some point it kind of becomes who you are, because it opens the conversations up, it does a lot. But like I'm saying, when you get to meet people like I've met, wounded veterans, and they will change your life, because you'll take guys in wheelchairs and they never complain, and guys with 2 prosthetics and they never complain. It's like, you'll hear somebody complaining about, I didn't hear a turkey, or that turkey was over across the lake, and I'm thinking, man, I just spent a week with 5 guys who didn't have legs. But you know what? They were obsessed. They were obsessed for that period of time with turkey hunting. Nothing does that more to people's spirit than turkey hunting. And to say I'm obsessed, that doesn't do it justice.